supermarket. Oh, a packet of crackers to pick.
Today we will be discussing the history of the periodic table. It started in 330 BC and ended in 1940. There were 9 total scientists who contributed, but only 5 that we'll mainly focus on today. The scientists were Aristotle, Lavoisier, Berzelius, Dobereiner, Newlands, Meyer, Mendeleev, Moseley, and Seaborg.
Over a span of more than 2,000 years, these scientists have put together their knowledge to create the periodic table that we know now today. Let's begin.
A week without food, a day, when things are pretty bad.
The first scientist to realize that there were different elements was Aristotle, and in 330 BC he came up with the 4-element theory, which consisted of earth, air, fire, and water.
1770 to 1789, Antoine Lavoisier was writing the first list of elements. It contained 33 elements, and it's differentiated between metals and nonmetals. Some of his elements were later discovered to be compounds
And mixtures.
Oh, you're so naive, yes.
In 1828, Jöns Jacob Berzelius developed a table of atomic weights. He was the first to arrange the periodic table by weight of each element. He also introduced letters to symbolize every element on the table.
In 1829,
Johann Dobereiner had developed the concept of triads. Triads are groups of 3 elements with similar properties within the periodic table. He was also the first to spark the idea of grouping elements together by recurring properties.
In 1864, the known elements of the periodic table were arranged in order of atomic weight, but John Newlands observed common properties through groups of elements. He proposed the law of octaves. The law of octaves identified similarities amongst groups of 8 elements throughout the table. However, he did not leave any spaces for undiscovered elements.
Meyer in 1869 had created a periodic table of 56 elements based on their recurring properties, such as molar volume and arranged in the order of atomic weight. He also produced his periodic table at about the same time as Mendeleev did.
In 1869, Dmitri Mendeleev produced a table not only based on atomic weight, but with elements of similar properties under each other. He also left spaces for elements that were yet to be discovered and predicted their properties, which were later found to be correct. Mendeleev's periodic table is important because we use it today, and he was able to predict elements unknown at the time. Because of this, Mendeleev is known as the father of the periodic table.
In 1913, Henry Moseley had determined the atomic number of each of the elements. He had rearranged the table by those numbers. He created the periodic table that we know now today.
In 1840, Glenn Seaborg synthesized transuranic elements. These are man-made elements that come after uranium in the periodic table. He is the only person to have created any elements.
Now that we've discussed all of the scientists, let's review and then take a quiz to test your
knowledge.
Time to realize it's right before my eyes, and I can take it if it's what I want to do. I am leaving, and this is starting to feel like it's right before my eyes, and I can taste it. It's my sweet beginning, and I can tell just what you want. You don't want to be alone. You don't want to be alone. And I can't say it's what
created the first list of elements? Was it A. Meyer, B. Seaborg, C. Lavoisier, or D. Dobriner?
Will you still love me when I'm no longer young and beautiful? Will you still
The answer is C. Lavoisier.
nothing but my aching soul?
What did Newlands propose? Was it A. Triads, B. Law of octaves, C. Four-element theory, or D. Transuranic elements?
Tell me, am I glamorized? Hello, hello, can you hear me? I can be a China
The answer is B. Law of octaves.
You're so dope. Your love is deadly.
What did Mendeleev do that Meyer did not? Is it A. Arranged elements by same properties, B. Create new elements, C. Did not predict properties correctly, or D. Predicted their properties correctly?
Not to get into trouble, but I got a war in my mind, so I just run.
The answer is D. Predicted their properties correctly. Whose periodic table arrangement do we use today? Is it A. Seaborg, B. Mendeleev, C. Moseley, or D. Aristotle? The answer is C. Moseley.